Is there one technical aspect of your swing you should always be working on? Come back in a minute to find out. So is there one thing in your golf swing you should be working on all the time? Technical scene, I think there's two. The first one is simply your swing axis. The swing axis is basically the central point of your golf swing. If you can imagine your golf swing being a circle, then if you can control the axis of the circle, you can control the path of the golf club. And one of the major problems that we have in golf is basically keeping that axis still, not sliding right and left, standing up or ducking down, not moving to the golf ball or away from the golf ball during the swing. Obviously, all of these movements will make it a great deal more difficult to get back to the golf ball and have a successful golf shot. So keeping that still is of the greatest importance. If you want to practice that, you need feedback, so either cameras or eventually mirrors so that you can actually see yourself. It also helps if you've got something like this where you can actually judge your position by the circle here. So if I stand in the middle of the circle and take my address position with my upper body tilted forward and turn my shoulders, I'm wanting to turn my shoulders without losing my axis. Now that's pretty difficult to see whether the center of the chest is moving. But if you look at your head, that gives you a pretty good idea. And I know everybody's always saying you've lifted your head up, you move to the right with your head. The poor old head gets a lot of bad press, but it's just sat on your shoulders and it's just got to do basically what the body is telling it to. So if you take your address position and make the rotation of your shoulders and stay in the middle of the circle, then you've got a good chance of your arms, hands and golf club following you around this circle. Now I know there are professionals out on the tour which don't seem to keep a steady axis, especially at the start of the downswing. You'll see a lot of kind of squatting going on. This isn't something that really a hobby golfer should be working on all that much. And even if they are squatting a little bit, there's not a lot of change in the distance from the center of the chest to the ball. And when we're talking about the center of the chest, I'm talking about a point behind the chest bone, in front of the thoracic spine, directly between the shoulders. And this point is what you're trying to keep still through the swing. You can get a lot of other moving parts and still keep it still. There's people straightening knees, bending knees and staying still. There's people doing all kinds of things which aren't in the teaching manuals and still keeping a quiet axis. And you want to be trying to do this within obviously your own physiological boundaries. The second thing that I like to see my students doing is keeping a shoulder plane. The shoulder plane for me is the angle that the golf club gave the golfer at the address position. So if you're looking at the different golf clubs, a wedge will be standing more upright than an iron. And therefore I will have more upper body tilt than I will do for an iron or obviously a driver or a long wood. That means that my shoulders are always going to be moving in the original plane. And as I rotate, you can see that the shoulder, left shoulder is pulled down into the middle, the right shoulder goes up and back, but the actual angle of my shoulders remains a consistent angle to where the golf club began. And that way, I'm just pulling the club around and up the circle, pulling it down through the ball and around and out towards a target. And you can see that the club is following the angle that the shoulders are giving it. And as the arms are attached to the shoulders, obviously they have no choice but to follow the shoulder angle if you keep them passive. This isn't quite as easy as it seems, and it can also lead to some misunderstandings in the backswing, because as you rotate back, what's got to happen is the oblique muscles in the side of your stomach have got to pull together and pull this left shoulder down and to the middle. While your arms are folding and going up, your left shoulder will be lifted. So if you look from the side, it will look as if your shoulders are flattening out. If you take, however, a line from under your left armpit over your right shoulder, that should still be in the original plane. From there, you're bringing your hip out of the way, crunching the obliques on the right side, and the right shoulder movement pulls down the right shoulder. As the hips and shoulders stop rotating, your arms release through the ball. You can see from the side here that they're not releasing along the target line, but being pulled around the circle. So you're coming down, hitting the golf ball, and the club is being pulled around the circle, and the golf ball's flying off at a tangent at the point at which you've hit it. If you can keep your shoulders moving in this angle and keep your axis centered in your swing, there's not a lot that can go wrong. And you can make it more complicated by bending your elbows or using more knee work or lifting your feet off the ground during the swing. But if you can keep these two things pretty consistent, then you've got a very good chance of hitting the golf ball well. I hope this has helped you. I hope it will give you something to think about the next time you're on the driving range. Don't think about it too much when you're on the golf course. By that time, it's far too late. You want to be going out there and playing golf. As ever, if you like the video, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, then do so. I'll leave my philosophy on golf up here in the left-hand corner if that interests you. And I look forward to seeing you all very shortly. See you then. Bye-bye.